I would like to call to order the Batavia Park District Board of Commissioners meeting for July 21st, 2015. Shall I, could you call the roll, please?
Riley.
Here.
Boyle's absent. Tillman.
Here.
Gray.
Here.
Callahan.
Here, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so anything to be added, removed, or changed on the agenda?
No, there's not.
Okay. So then, first order of business is item number 5, the consent agenda. So I would move to establish the consent agenda as follows. Approval of the minutes of the special board meeting of June 13th, 2015. Approval of the meeting minutes of the regular board meeting of June 16th, 2015. Approval of the minutes, approval of the minutes of the executive session of June 16th, 2015. Paid expenditures, unpaid expenditures, treasurer's report, and approval of purchases.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion? Shall I please call the roll?
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Boyle's absent. Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. So then I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is item number 6, guests matters from the public. No, seeing none, moving on. Item number 7, matters from the commissioners. Anybody wishing to make any comments here this evening?
Well, I think the Windmill Fest went very well. I think,
Push your microphone button.
oh, talk louder, huh?
Thank you.
I think it went very well. I was out there for a few hours during our non-rainy period, but I understand that it was very profitable. I'm sure you'll probably elaborate on that a little bit later, but from what I saw, folks were having a great time. I'm glad it was down by the river, and I thought it was great.
Super.
Another success, I think.
Thank you for the feedback.
Actually, I just want to commend staff. I know it was a long weekend. It was warm and it was rainy and but I got a lot of positive feedback. A lot of folks said they had a great time. They really appreciate it, and they definitely knew where the Park District staff was. So kudos to you in making sure that you were very visible. So well done.
Excellent.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Right. We're no different than the people at Sam's Club that says, "Ask me, how can I help?"
That's right. Very good. Anybody else?
I got nothing.
All right. Next item on the agenda is correspondence. And we had 2 pieces of correspondence. We had one from Jean Van Leersburg, commending Jim Eby. That was outstanding. And a couple letters from Peter Murphy at IAPD. Let those be reflected in the record. Also let the record reflect that Commissioner Foiles is here at 7:05. That's not to call you out, Gary. Just to make sure your voice is heard. All right. Next item on the agenda is announcements.
Thank you, Pat.
You're very welcome.
Join us for a summer outdoor movie tomorrow night, as well as Wednesday, August 5th. The free movies will be held at the Riverwalk following the River Rhapsody concert series at approximately 8:30 p.m. Tomorrow's movie will be Big Hero 6, which I can personally vouch for, it's very funny, an action-packed comedy adventure for the whole family. The August 5th movie will be Back to the Future, a classic for both kids and adults. For more information, head over to bataviaparks.org. The Riverwalk is heating up this weekend for the 23rd Annual State Championship Chili Cook-Off. Head down to the Riverwalk Saturday to check it out. If you're interested in showing off your cooking skills, you can enter one of 3 divisions: Cassie, Restaurant, or Traditional. And Cassie is Chili Appreciation Society International. If you don't want to compete, then just come to eat. Tasting cups are available for $5. The beer garden and concessions open at 1 p.m., chili tastings are at 2 p.m., and awards will follow at approximately 4:30 p.m. For more details or to fill out an application to compete, visit bataviaparks.org. Hall Quarry Beach closes for the season on August 16th, so be sure to head down for some fun in the sun. Daily admission is just $8 for residents, or you can take advantage of discounted rates every Wednesday. For more details, again, visit bataviaparks.org. Thank you to everyone who attended the 2015 Windmill City Festival. Staff had a blast putting on the event, and we encourage you to check out our website for pictures of the event.
Thank you very much. Only one thing I'd add is, what do we have now? About 3 weeks before the quarry closes, 3.5 weeks before the quarry closes. I have it on very good authority that the water is warm. I want to make sure this community knows the water is warm.
Test it out.
All right. Next item on the agenda is staff reports. So we'll start with any staff updates.
I will go first. As Carrie had mentioned, and everyone else, Windmill City Fest was a great success this year. I'm working on the final numbers since we're still paying some bills. So hopefully, I believe next month we'll have a final number count for everyone to see, and we'll talk about that. In Jim's place, the pour-in place, the Riverwalk, is completed. It's been tested and approved. At Windmill City Fest, we saw a ton of kids out there between the circle and the actual playground. It was great to see it, and now he actually explained how it all looks. And the lily pads, it's actually really cool if you go out there and see what it looks like.
It's neat too because not just, I saw people with strollers and wheelchairs. So it was a lot of dual purpose.
Later on this week, we have the Technology Committee is sitting down with 3 finalists for the financial software to view their demonstrations on Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm probably the most excited one out of the whole group, but we'll be able to choose a vendor and move forward to be able to replace our current software that we have. And last but not least, and Pat's favorite subject, I'm working on budget. So that's another big topic, obviously, and we're working on the final. I had to because it was Pat. I just had to. So I'm working on that, trying to get everything done. We're going to have a schedule out to you shortly, and we are ready to roll to 2016.
All right.
Maybe only me.
You know, Eric, it's kind of like, cutting grass,
Going to the
fixing
dentist?
things. Everybody's got their job to do. I didn't even hear that, and I don't even want you to repeat it.
Well, I know one department not going to see a big increase.
You said we get to put all our own stuff in this time. Okay.
I'm watching you too. I'm watching you.
Okay, about the only other thing I can add to my report is that just a word of caution for those people using the trails through Batavia. We are going to be doing some much needed tree trimming along there, so just watch for the signs and the cones and the people that are helping direct traffic during that project. The mosquitoes are really bad. But as we open things up, it gets lighter and things are helping. So the guys are trudging along.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you.
I just want to add that I get to be fortunate enough to be part of the tech committee that is going to be sitting in on the financial software demonstrations. Although I don't have such a enthusiasm, looking forward to it. Couple of highlights. We did have 48 teens attend the teen night at the quarry. We're actually going to expand it, as I stated here. We're going to 5th through 8th graders, so we're going to spring it out a little more. Hopefully we can increase that number, start picking up on the teen tween programming again. And I had an absolute blast at my first Windmill City Fest. It was a lot of fun watching all of that come together.
Well, it was
He
great.
was there a lot.
It was great seeing him as his first year in the barracks, getting dirt underneath his fingernails and eager to help. So great job.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Well, I am excited to be working on a project with Amber Smith with the quarry. We've contracted a local college student, Trevor Hollis, to help us shoot a safety video for the quarry. So now user groups beginning next summer preseason will get to view the video. It will explain to anyone planning to come to the quarry where things are, the different swimming areas, how to go about getting your pass to swim in the deeper end, all that stuff. So that will be fun, and of course our PADERMA affiliates are very excited and will hopefully be granting us a grant to cover the costs too.
Great.
A couple things. We held a media preview last Friday. We've been doing that for the quilt show. Sorry, we've been doing that for I think about 4 years now. So in the past, we would have a couple show up, a couple reporters or photographers show up, but it was usually after the fact. So to kind of remedy that, about 4 years ago, we started inviting them the day of the show. So it gave them a chance to interview some of the organizers, take some pictures. It's been very successful, so we did get quite a bit of coverage this year, which was really nice, for Chris and Carla. And then a couple weeks ago, Barco Products, local company here in town, they partnered with us, I think you remember, for the memorial program. They called to see if they could use our Bark Park to shoot a promotional video for their agility equipment. So kind of worked my magic and got them in exchange for that. They produced a 30-second video for the Bark Park, so we got to have a little promo video specifically for the Bark Park. So that is on our Facebook page. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it will also be on our website. But it was kind of a win-win situation, and then people who came that day kind of got to check out the agility equipment to see what could potentially be out there once we move in that direction.
Was your dog in the clip?
He was not, unfortunately. I really wanted him to be. There was a boxer, though. Apollo, Jeff Matters, boxer Apollo, did make the feature.
Is there auditions for that?
Next year.
Yeah, next year.
Pet Star in Batavia.
Very good. Thanks for the update. Board, any questions of staff on their reports?
Just out of curiosity, I saw in here August 1st is volunteer recognition event, and it was a few months ago you were putting together a volunteer program with objectives, and so people, is that going pretty good? Is that part of this?
Yes, it's a way to kind of start giving back to the volunteers. So invites have gone out. We definitely invite you guys to come. It's Saturday, August 1st at the quarry. So as a way to say thank you to the volunteers that we've had in the past, as well as new ones that we've gotten this year. The volunteers do get to come for free to the quarry, and then their family members can come for 50% off. So just as a way to kind of give back and say thanks for all the help that they've given to us. So, yeah.
And we're hoping that'll also help with volunteer retention, because people are see that we're recognizing an appreciation of their
And hopefully
efforts.
gain new volunteers too, if their family members see how we appreciate them and
Sure.
stuff.
Great idea. Anyone else? Carrie? No. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Executive Director's Report. Anything additional?
Yes, actually, in my current board briefs, I mentioned that there's a Mayor Brown memorial table that we would like to place at the South Riverwalk Plaza. I've spoken to the mayor. We've did a little tour of exactly a great spot to place the table, and the city's even willing to install it. And just to recap, Bob Brown was a former mayor who at one time acquired all of that property down at the Riverwalk where the city government building is. And
Where is the spot?
it's actually in the photo that was attached to,
It's
that's
in
right.
the-
It was in the
It's in
It was in the
email.
email. Was it in the packet?
You know where the electrical transformer
Yep.
is? It's, there's a planter bed that's in front of that, and it's right in this little corner right there. so
Okay.
They can look out over the river.
Got it, okay.
It's kind of really an empty spot.
Yep.
But I would love to hear some feedback. Commissioner Riley gave me some positive feedback about the location, and I just would love to hear any more feedback that the board has about it.
Okay.
I think the location is terrific.
Good.
You know, it's just hard to tell in the picture, but the chessboard might have been laid out wrong. The white goes in the lower right.
I think it's already made.
I do love the fact that there's a chess checker board on top of this. It's not just something that people go sit at. They can actually spend some time and enjoy themselves there. So that is kind of a cool feature.
I'm all for it.
Great.
It's a great idea.
Thanks for the feedback. I'll let the city know, and I'm sure they'll be very pleased to hear that. Also, I'd like to give a public thanks to all of the civic organizations that helped out with the Windmill City Festival, and that would go out to the Batavia Lions Club, Batavia Chamber, Batavia Parks Foundation, and Batavia Rotary for serving beer the nights of our Windmill City Festival. So all those groups will receive 10% of the profit from the beer sales during the hours that they worked. So, last but not least, there is also a memo accompanying my board briefs. And it just, Rita Cruz and Jen Brueggemann, and I have been looking at the Affordable Care Act regulations. And we must offer minimum health benefits to our employees no later than 2016, January 2016. And right now we have 2 employees. Out of all of our employees in the district that are part-time, we only have 2 that are going to be currently eligible. And they're listed in the memo. And they'll be eligible for the PPO and HMO plans. And they also can opt out if they aren't interested in it. But that's pretty incredible considering the district our size and all the part-time employees we have. I think staff has done a tremendous job of managing hours. And, you know, this has been 3 years in the works, so we really started to scale back. And I set the bar at 26 hours, not to exceed, if the positions hadn't been pre-approved. And so obviously these 2 positions were pre-approved to work more than 30 hours. So there are some agencies now that are, during the administrative period, that are looking at their staff hours. Pardon the interruption. There are some agencies our size that are looking at doing the analysis during the administrative period, and they're panicking because they have upwards of 24 employees, part-time employees, that will qualify, and it's going to be very expensive for them. So,
Is this a total figure for both employees? What's in the memo?
So the range goes from the least amount, which would be the opt-out if they both
Right.
chose to opt out, to if they both chose full coverage for their family eligibility level.
But the numbers represented includes both of them. That's not
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, it's not per.
yep.
Okay.
So it shows like the absolute
Yep.
lowest and the
Got
absolute
it.
highest. Yep.
All right. Very good.
So that's a wrap.
Thank you.
Revert back to my old days of wrapping it up.
Anyone have any other questions for Allison? Okay. I'm going to get to new business, item number 13. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Aaron Wilrett, the village administrator of the Village of Elburn. So we are going to be working or talking a little bit about this intergovernmental agreement. You're welcome to address the board if you have anything you'd like to say. Now would be the time.
Thank you. Again, I'm Erin Wilred, Administrator for the Village of Elburn. Allison and I have been working on this, came together very quickly, and it's an intergovernmental agreement that we put together to offer a membership to the village residents of Elburn, and then that membership would allow them to get Batavia resident rates for all the Park District programs. Our board looked at this last night at the meeting of the Committee of the Whole. It was received extremely well. This is a true testament of intergovernmental cooperation and 2 governments working together. We are very fortunate to be able to do this, and we feel that we are kind of leading the way in doing this in our area anyways. This will allow residents to have more opportunities to play and to have fun in the area, and it hopefully will open the door for Batavia as well to show off what they are doing currently and doing very well. So we appreciate that. This will be taken up at our village board meeting for approval on August 3rd at 7:00 p.m. So thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. And all your hard work.
And clearly there was a need when I found out that the Village of Elburn didn't have a Park and Recreation department, and you know, they were in need of recreational services, and had approached other park districts in the area and weren't receiving a lot of intergovernmental agreement or cooperation. It seemed that there was a need that we could fulfill, and since we can't annex, since we're too far away from one another, this made the most sense. So,
Other than opportunities to provide programming and services to the people of Elburn, is there opportunities for us to expand our programming space out to that area that, we can look to.
Funny you should bring that up. While Aaron and I can continue our discussions about opportunities and collaborations, we had a leadership team meeting this morning where we were excited talking about maybe we could bring some of our recreational programming out actually physically to Elburn, and that would only.
Can we do it in Reeves parking lot?
We are going to be serving Reams hot dogs on Saturday.
Yes.
You're already working on
outstanding. I love this.
So, and there might be opportunities too for field space.
Yeah, Elburn's a great town, and I know I asked that knowing that there was facilities out there, and whether they're available or not. I know there's some fine facilities out there and fields and so forth. So I think I'm excited about the fact that there are these opportunities we can look into. So, yeah, it'd be great.
Anyone else? Any comments?
In thinking, we talked about this last month or so, and it was a good idea then. As looking through the agreement and just trying to think, it just seems like it just makes so much sense. So I keep trying to think, what is a downside? And I can't think of a downside. Has anybody thought of anything that might be a negative to this? That maybe, because I can't think of one, but maybe that's the danger.
If you live on the east side of Batavia and your programming is in Elburn, you might feel it's a downside. But
so the only danger I can think of is that people from Elburn are going to fall in love with Batavia. They may want to move to Batavia, but
it's a downside for Elburn.
Either that, or they may have
That's
to
a
get a
chance we're
gas
gonna have
card
to take,
for.
though.
They'll have to get a gas card for traveling to and fro. But no, I think it's a
It
win-win
just seems,
situation.
from as John was just saying, maybe taking things out to your area, bring them in. It just seems like there's so much opportunity that we probably even haven't thought about yet. Dean probably can take advantage of a ton of things, and so it's terrific.
And this model really can be applied to other communities as well, and we're hoping that we can kind of set the bar for that model.
Well, I think it's not only a governmental cooperation, it's really resource sharing. And our mission is to provide recreation for citizens of Batavia. But in this case, we're providing opportunities for people who interact with Batavians in a, what I'll call a kind of a sister city, if you will, or sister village, because I know I spend a lot of time in Elburn. I spend a lot of time in Batavia, so it just seems to make a heck of a lot of sense. I think the other thing that's intriguing to me is, we've often talked about our western boundary for as long as I've sat in this chair, and that's longer than I'd care to admit right now. But we talked about, where do we stop? How far do we go? Do we keep annexing? And it's a diminishing return on services when you're just annexing property. But what I think is really great about this is it gives us farther reach with more resources and people who want our services. So those two things, to me, are really kind of fun. And, it's kind of, should talk to the city of Batavia and kind of do the sister city thing. What the heck?
There you go. Expand it out.
Yeah, I just hope that the families out there are able to take advantage of it, and, use it.
To that point, will we be sending our brochures out to Elburn starting?
We'll come up with a marketing plan for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Sorry, Tara, did you?
Yeah, I was going to ask about preschool, because I didn't, would Elburn residents qualify for New Horizons resident rates?
If they opt in, they would opt in for their entire household.
Okay.
And they'd essentially be paying the Batavia Park District taxpayer rate.
Okay.
So they would be considered residents.
So is there any, is that a need in your village for?
We currently have a preschool and a daycare in
Okay.
town. So
Okay.
we discussed this last evening, that in our vision right now, the services that Elburn residents currently are obtaining within the village, they would probably stay put.
Okay.
But it would be the new programs and services that
Okay.
would hopefully be able to draw them
Right.
to Batavia and give them access to things that the village doesn't currently offer.
Okay.
And this will really benefit larger families that maybe are interested in quarry family passes.
Sure.
Our before and after school care program if they need that kind of care. since we're treating them like Batavia Park District residents, and preschool, of course, and rental facilities as well. So if someone in Elburn grew up in this community and they're interested in renting Shannon Hall, that would give them a fantastic discount. They would.
Well, there's a huge opportunity in our recreational space, too. I mean, I know that there are Elburn residents that we have competed against that also would like to come out and participate in our, recreation and sporting events because they don't have that particular program. There's huge opportunities for that, and it's really not that far for them. On some of our traveling programs, it's not a stretch for somebody to come from Elburn to Batavia to participate in that. So, as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm all over that, So that's great.
Well, I think downtown Elburn is probably closer to West Main Park than downtown Batavia.
Over the east side.
Hence the discussion about the western boundary.
Exactly.
Yep.
Great.
All right.
All right, anyone else? So, happily, I would entertain a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Batavia Park District and the Village of Elburn as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Tillman and a second by Foils. Any further discussion?
The as presented includes the changes they made.
We actually included them last minute into the.
Right, I just don't want people who picked up the earlier packet or saw it.
Okay. So including, which
They were very minor changes, but it is the changes asked for by Elburn. They were, so anybody who picked up, got it off the web or whatever for people watching at home, if you got it before today, there are a couple minor changes, but that's what's being approved.
very good. With that caveat.
And they're dirt price approved changes.
Well, they were reasonable.
Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Wales.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. No, it's our pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you, Erin.
Us too.
I've loved working with you thus far, and there's so many more possibilities left to tap into.
Terrific. Thanks very much. All right, next item on the agenda is item 13B, administrative policy discussion.
It's safe to say that this is a new policy. Well, actually, there are two policies recommended for deletion, and the affiliate status policy is in its infancy stages. So there is a lot more discussion that needs to take place, whether it's tonight or in the future. And it will really help me to know what the board's philosophy is on affiliates, and if we believe affiliates should receive a discount. If so, what type of discount?
So just to clarify, so this is new,
Correct.
and it essentially is a morphed version of our previous PAF to some extent. Meaning, I'm not saying this is the new PAF, I'm saying that this is new because of the
Correct.
disposition.
In lieu of, I would
It's like a
the
succession
disposition
plan.
of the current PAF.
Correct, succession.
So,
Where does it say we're deleting that then? You said, so we're
In
moving.
the packet.
Yeah,
I didn't
there's
see that.
affiliate groups, there's a little
You
box.
scroll, yeah.
And not-for-profit groups, they're both being,
This one
the suggestion is to
says
delete those.
On here, to delete this one.
Got it.
And
Sorry,
then-
I just
Mhm.
didn't see.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
I just wanna make
Looking
sure
forward to
we're
the
all
beginning. Got it. Okay, sorry, thanks.
so I'm going to make a suggestion. This is a very important new addition to our policy. It took us, to do PAF, it took us nearly 2 years to get PAF the way it was. And that was really, really hard. And it wasn't perfect by any means. But this is a really important aspect of what we do in terms of how we treat our affiliates, partners, friends, et cetera. And I just want to make sure that we get all the board's input in this. So here's what I'd like to do. This one may not be a 1-2 reading, this may be a 3-4 reading.
And I completely understand.
Okay, so here's what I'm
I'm
going to
expecting
suggest.
that.
I'm going to suggest that we get a chance, the board, to review this as you prepared it in detail. And then at our next meeting, you and I will try to come up with 2 or 3 topics for discussion on this policy.
Okay.
We're not going to be able to chew the whole thing up in one time, but
I'd
I'd
actually
like,
like some revisions of this before the next
Well, I'm fine if anybody has any changes.
I have some, right,
They would like to see.
Yeah.
Let's get that to Allison so she can get it to Dirk. Let's get it adjusted. But I guess all I'm saying is what I'd like to do is lift the topics on here
Yeah, that's
for
fine.
our discussion publicly so that we can kind of bite this off into kind of 2 or 3 chunks. And this may take 2 or 3 meetings
And
to get through.
they're really kind of simple. The first thing that I would like to see is this is heavily centered on fields. There's not any mention of our facilities in here.
Well, that's because this incorporates by reference the field allocation policy, and that is as important as this. I mean, that's sort of the, in working with Allison on this, the question is what problem are we trying to solve?
Right.
Right, with the new one. Part of it is field allocation. So I think that, to President Callahan's point, I think you need to have the field allocation policy too. So you might want to send that out
Well,
tomorrow.
that's fine. If we have 2 separate policies, I think we need to have some sort of affiliate policies for our facilities other than just our
Yeah, it's
field.
about ranking a priority.
Okay,
The
okay,
PAF, the
okay.
partner affiliate friend, ranked their priority use of facilities in that way. Partners were taken care of first because they did more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Affiliates were next because they did less but more than friends. And friends did more than the general public or out of district or whatever. So, and you got to have a priority system. I mean, and where does the school district fit in there in terms of priority, or the city for that matter, because they come to us sometime. So governmental units. So this sits side by side with the field allocation policy, which you need to look at as well. So, and to your point about heavily centered on fields, I mean, that will be where the rubber meets the road, Commissioner Tillman. But this policy talks about what affiliates have to do that separate themselves from just other rental groups that want to come to us.
Agreed. All I'm saying is I would like something in here that speaks to, it talks very specifically in here about
Field use.
what it would take to use our fields. I would like some verbiage in here as to, because right now, it's like, well, I don't want to use the field, so I'm cool just using the boathouse, and I don't have to do anything else other than follow these requirements. There's no fees, there's no nothing for the affiliate, if I'm part of this affiliate program. Whereas for a field, it's spelled out in here as far as field uses, this is not only what you have to do, but this is what it's going to cost.
And to your
Right.
point, it may be addressing the prioritization of facility
Sure,
use.
yeah, all that. I would like, and it could be, if it's a subset, it's a subset. If the fields are the primary, it's the primary, I get that. How often are we necessarily going to have affiliates that use a facility of ours on, 20 weeks out of the year? But just something needs to be in here.
Well, to your further point, and to play the Socratic method game a little bit, one of the things it says in here is that they have to pay for all costs associated with the rental of the field. Well, okay, so we mine that information from Eric. That's going to take him a while to do. But I know from the other parks in the system, the Ansel Glink family, that football is far more of an impact on a field than a soccer team. So the cost of a football game is very different than the cost of a soccer game on that field. So then you're going to differentiate. But the only affiliates, you have to be 75% your constituents, your residents. So who pay taxes. And so I just want you to be thinking about, because they're going to come in and say, why am I paying the full cost of the use of the field when I've already given you my tax dollars to provide that field? You're going to have to, that's part of your conversation.
And Gary, if I'm mistaken, correct me, but isn't Naperville Park District 90%
Yes.
residents?
Yes, for affiliates.
Yeah.
But I think John raises a good point, though. If we focus so much on the fields, we kind of open ourselves up for the facilities. And again, because of how our relationship with other public entities and how we use their facilities, it gets into a very
So it took
tangled.
2 years.
That's why it took 2 years. I know.
Yeah.
I was there. So I guess maybe this needs to be broken up so we have affiliate status that earmarks fields and facilities, as long as it's in here.
Encompassing, yeah.
I'm not saying commingle it, I'm saying it should be in here addressed as well.
And the second item I wanted to bring up is something you've mentioned, and that is for volume discounts, or if that is even applicable here. So if you have some of our partners currently use our fields a lot, I mean, it's high volume, do they pay the same per field use as a guy who wants to just have his lacrosse team practice once? I think something like that, I don't know what the verbiage is gonna be like, but I think to be fair to some of our partners that have been with us for a decade, we're getting, or more, we're getting ready to change fundamentally how we deal in partnership with them. I think we need to have something in there that we could specifically point to and say, hey man, look, we wanted to make sure we took care of, you concerned, versus the other guy.
Well, and maybe Pat's the only one who was here for this, but we have also contracts still in force and effect between the district and BYB about certain rights they have on 2 fields of ours and 1 city, right? So 3 fields. So that's background information that will be separate from this policy. So in some ways, there'll be a separate sidebar with BYB as we're going through this, that we're not going to be able to change their priority on those 3 fields in particular. Because, and the reason being, to catch everybody up, is they invested a lot of capital in lights and some other things, so the quid pro quo was you'll have priority use of these fields.
Understood.
So.
The tricky part right now is that a lot of our affiliate groups, a lot of our partners are currently working on their fee structure for spring. And essentially, and I don't want to rush this, I want to get this right. So if it takes 4, 5, 6, 7 tries or stabs at it, special board meetings, whatever it takes, we need to take our time with this. And, we know it's a living, breathing document, but we want to get this right. We don't want to rush it. But with all that being said, we also have to be fair to our partners too from a timing standpoint. So maybe spring, maybe it turns into summer, but.
Well, the process that's worked in other, you're not the first ones to skin this cat. Everybody wrestles with this issue. The process that's worked is after the board does some critical thinking about it, you want to bring the partners in for a conversation with the board and have that out. That's a special meeting, but it's worth doing. And then it's implemented, because people who are playing baseball and who have budgeted their family expenses to be, okay, I normally spend X dollars on baseball, and if you doubled or tripled their, or the first time ever added costs to their registration, people get upset. And so typically people phase in getting to their rental targets or whatever their new fee structure is over a course of a couple of years. So that would be my recommendation.
Incrementally.
I think it's fair also to alert any of our existing partners that something is coming.
And I have with Tri-City Soccer and Batavia Youth Baseball. So the word's out there, it's just a ...
Right.
Well, right, and then the I don't know what the word is, but of course across the parking lot, that's a huge part of this in some ways in terms of field allocation. So,
I can also say, in my experience with dealing with this affiliate status is really just a very small portion, as Dirk said, of the field allocation. And the groups that are going to qualify for this affiliate, there's only going to be a few.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, they're going to be 75% of our rentals, but it'll only be a very small handful of groups.
Right.
Because just an individual travel lacrosse team isn't going to be able to do the stuff that's in here. So they fall in a different category, and they're a renter or a category 2 group.
the friction comes when you have 2 affiliates in the same thing, typically soccer. So you have 2 Batavia soccer clubs, both of which qualify for your affiliate status and now are competing for your fields. And one's been a long time and one's the break-off group. What are we going to do?
In Batavia, it's baseball.
Okay, so you're going to have to come up with, I mean, everybody's going to have that in the back of their mind. You live in this community, that you're going to know break-off group people and the regular people. But you're going to have to come up with a policy that works when it then applies to soccer as well as baseball or basketball or whatever it is. So.
Well, the good news is that 2 years ago, we started that process. We already have the costs, the hard costs, and the loaded costs for labor, for materials, you name it. We've worked on that, so we've crunched the numbers. And we also did a market research study. We looked at St. Charles, we looked at West Chicago, we looked at the kind of the going rate.
Sure.
So we know kind of the price sensitivity points. So we're really ahead of the ball in that category, but we need to get this part right first.
Well, I would argue this. I think that while the the verbiage, the rules, the applicability, how it's administered, the fairness, the equitability, whatever you want to call it, is the hard part. The numbers are the easy part, right?
Right.
So rather than let this trail too far, because this part we got to get right. The numbers are somewhat flexible because that's going to be a target of where you're going to either start and where you'd like to end up. That I think it would be worthwhile to begin those conversations about a shift and a change from PAF to this, and have those numbers shared, at least where we believe they should be. And the discussion about phase-in, which I like, Dirk, I think that's the appropriate way to make a change, rather than just slam the door shut and say this is over, is to have the conversation now, since we know what the target numbers are going to be, as to how those local affiliates could do it over a 3-year period. That could give them time to start working on it. So it's not, we spend all our time and now we have the conversation with them, even though they're aware of it, have the conversation. Now they have to figure it all out. Let's do it together, kind of simultaneously. Yeah, there's going to be some interaction. Yes, there's going to be some changes and adjustments that we're going to need to make. But I think the numbers are really what is most challenging, because BYF, or BYB right now, is already beginning to start their fall ball, and then, you know.
They're getting ready for, yeah, I mean, they're doing pricing right now for travel ball
Yeah.
for next 2016. They're getting ready. And
Right.
then in
We can't spring
December, they're
the
gonna
full
start
amount.
doing their pricing for getting ready for regular rec ball in the summer. So, you know, talking with them, just like you're saying, you know, keep them in the loop, kind of what's going on. Because right now, the unknown, they're nervous, and rightfully so, because they don't know how it's going to be. You know, all of a sudden, bam, it's a 40% increase, or whatever it might be. You know, but
That's why you're trying.
yeah, so you phase it in, or just, and you're
I've
talking to
reached
them
out
already.
I've reached out to Mike Law
Yeah.
and to Bob Geiken.
Okay.
And told them that we'd like to have a meeting with them, but I've left it at that, and neither one of them have gotten back to me, so I think we're ready for this next
Yeah, I think
step.
Well, they lay out the same nimbleness that we do as an organization. They need to meet as a board. They can't, one guy can't decide anything any more than President Callahan can. We need to meet, and you're getting busy people to meet to make collective body decisions. So the bigger the organization, the less nimble they are in meeting. So that's understandable, but that's in part why it took 2 years, because the biggest cost shift we did then was the criminal background checks, and they were 30 a pop when we did it back then. They're
Yeah.
much cheaper now, but that was a huge cost shift, and that was also part of the contributing, what are you doing to us? We're not prepared to take a $30 per coach hit at this time. Now, it's been that way for how many years now, so everybody's built that into their pricing. And that remains in this policy for the affiliates, that they have to do their own criminal background checks. But still, I mean, that was part of the phase-in over 2 years, was it took so much, that was a $30 hit to them per coach.
Well, and what's interesting though too, even looking outside of the sports affiliations, you know, a group like Batavia Main Street may be interested in being an affiliate, but are they interested in having criminal background checks for all their
Well,
volunteers?
they don't have people next to kids, so, I mean, be a very small subset. If they want to rent our facilities or use them, they're probably not with kids. I mean, that's our scope reducing language, is we don't require everybody in BYB to go through a criminal background check, only the people who are working with kids, so.
True.
So if we could get a memo from you that delineates what where you think the target numbers are going to end up
Sure.
for the various
We're really,
uses.
yeah, we've got that.
You know, because, you know, to Commissioner Riley's point, if you're doing the rec league pricing and you're going to rent one field in Batavia for 2 teams, now you split that cost over, what, 22 kids or so, or whatever, the 11 kids per team, whatever it is. You know, you got, it's a greater number, right? If you have a travel team who's got to pay for it on their end to invite an outside travel team to come in, now you either have a premium for the travel, or you have to have some, because you're balancing it over, you know, another 11 kids or whatever the case may be.
Or you're playing half your games away, so it works out. It actually comes out the same.
It balances out, right? So I guess I just want to make sure that, I'd like to see it as a
Sure.
board as we begin this discussion, because it makes the words more germane to our
Yeah.
conversation. But also, I think the faster we see it, the quicker we can start even getting preliminary numbers out, so that our affiliates can understand what impact it'll have on them, and we can open up the dialogue about a phase-in approach.
I appreciate that.
A couple of questions I had though going, do we do registration for any of the affiliates? Are we anticipating handling registration for any of these programs?
We currently do not at all.
Perfect, okay. I just wanted to,
Yep. The closest we get is our Plain Dirt Gardeners. We assist with the selling of garden walk tickets. And that's a point of sale that we do that for them because they have no venue to do that. And they actually support our wildflower
and
sanctuary.
then Allison, you know, go to law school because this is better than some of the work product I get from some of my people.
Thank you.
But
Like
you
Michelle
you
Turner.
talked about assets in there, you know, when things terminate, it's always about the divorce for the lawyers when it goes bad. You talked about them keeping their assets. What affiliates bring, I mean, besides the lights that BYB bought, who brings assets to the fields that are there? I mean,
Well, like if
Tri-City
Tri-City
owns them.
Soccer to bring soccer goals, like that, you know. if
That we leave
goals
out
that
there,
they-
the big ones,
Yeah.
and we leave them out there?
That's what I'm thinking of.
But
Yeah,
they,
okay.
but
Or
they
the-
can always be moved.
or the
I
neck.
mean, but those are.
Yeah, but
aren't
I'm just trying
permanent.
to-
Those aren't
Trying to
permanent.
figure out what assets.
Those aren't permanent fixtures.
But
Those-
they're assets that are,
They're still not ours.
They're stored up
If we
there.
boot for a cause, if we boot Tri-City Soccer's off our field for a cause, and
They
you
can
want to
take
offer
their
a
goals
soccer
with them.
program, right, I want everybody to be aware, we don't have goals there immediately.
right, or the knack boxes, which have
Whatever
all
they
the
are.
equipment
Yes.
for BYB.
Right.
The rakes and all
Yeah.
that.
So-
They have a
Exactly.
tractor they use.
You got it.
I'm just
And
trying to.
sheds, people build
It's about
sheds, everyone.
expectations and managing them, so.
Well, and I think we also need to have some discussion in the policy on those things too, as to how those are handled. In my
Protocol?
opinion, those things, you know, they can provide those things, but really those should be donations to the park district then that we own and maintain, you know. So that knack box, you know, if they want it there, they can provide it, but it's ours now. And then we're responsible for maintaining it. We'll replace it after its useful life and.
And we're already responsible for the goals under that special
Yeah.
legislation, so.
And really, I'm glad that you brought that up, Gary, because one of the things we're trying to do with this affiliate status policy is to regain control. You know, throughout the years, we have lost control over the scheduling. We've been told by the groups, you know, we're going to use, just blanket us for every Friday through Saturday, or Friday through Sunday for baseball fields. And then when someone comes to us and says, hey, we want to have a family picnic, we want to rent one of your parks for, well, you know what? It's busy from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m.
It's booked from 10 a.m. to
Booked, yeah.
5.
It's not
And then
But
they
they
come
drive
by
by
with
and drive by and
pictures of
empty
an
it.
empty.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and
Yes.
that happens. We've
Yes,
had that, yeah.
exactly.
I have some experience with this, you know, and if you'd like to sit down and talk about that, or you and Dean, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, Gary's wrestled with very special snowflakes.
All right, any further discussion on this? I think
I
this
quote
was
you on that?
This was a healthy discussion, but I will work with Allison to come up with a couple of topics, specific topics. In the meantime, if we can get a memo regarding the actual cost structure you're anticipating, and then also give some consideration to the items with respect to incorporating facilities and volume discounts that Commissioner Tillman brought up.
Got it. Thank you for the feedback. Extremely
Thank you.
constructive and helpful. And
Sure.
staff has done a great job with the feedback that I've been getting from them as well.
Thank you. So next item on the agenda is, any update, Fox Valley Special Rec? You didn't have any?
Actually, Carrie Feldkamp has an update she'd like to share.
So to kind of piggyback, Pat, on your comment from, I don't remember if it was last board meeting or the board meeting before that, about us kind of helping to promote their events, more like the barbecue fundraiser, for example, like doing a little bit more to help promote them. On August 20th, I'm going to be attending a brand new committee meeting. All the member agencies are going to be putting forth a marketing person to get together a committee to kind of talk about reciprocal promotions.
Awesome.
Yeah, so collectively, I think we'd probably reach about 500,000 people. So it's, you know, with between St. Charles and Elgin and all the member agencies and Elburn, maybe.
That's actually not a joke.
Opportunistic.
That's something we haven't ironed out, actually, with Fox Valley SRA, is, you know, I mean, you talk to Carolyn, they're stretched to the limit, and Carolyn Nagel, they're stretched to the limit with the agreement. We're making the Elburn folks like a Batavia resident, which would mean inclusion services at Fox Valley, and
a
I mean,
good
I don't
point.
anticipate a lot of that, but that's something to keep in mind in the Fox Valley SRA relationship is, if there's an Elburn family that needs inclusion services, we're gonna have to turn to Fox Valley, and we have to work that out, so.
Point take.
Yeah.
So this is a newly formed committee, so just kind of talking about how the member agencies can help promote more. They do, we do a page ad in each brochure, as do other member agencies, but going above and beyond that,
Yeah.
and then vice versa too, so.
That's
so
outstanding.
At the August board meeting, I should be able to give you guys,
It's a good timeliness with that.
yeah. So there you go.
Excellent.
Since Aaron's here, have you had to deal with the inclusion issues for your parking? No? Oh, okay.
We don't even have any programs. So even our parks within the village,
Mhm.
they're just public works maintained. So we do have to meet ADA requirements, but we haven't built any new park facilities probably in over 10 years.
Right, and if you're not running program.
And we're not running programs, right? But that would be a certain benefit to our residents.
Yeah, no,
that
it
have
will,
those needs.
it will probably crop up. I mean,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in that case, they'd be under our umbrella, Batavia's umbrella, correct?
well, yes and no. I mean, that's why we need to talk to Carolyn about it, because they work on the basis of our population and our EAV. And now we're adding population without adding EAV to Fox Valley. They're not getting any of the 4 cents that, like, from Elburn could.
It would mean,
levy.
it would most likely mean some of the.
We'd have to make a
adjustment for us.
contribution,
Yeah.
but that's a fair cost that could be, I mean, just like particular programs cost more money.
Right.
When inclusion comes up, and we'll talk to that family, yeah, you get the Batavia rate, but there might be a special cost of inclusion with Fox Valley.
And I think the administrative check that Elburn will be issuing to our park districts will help with that.
Help to fray it, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but we need to have the conversation with Carolyn.
The rate how we're coming up with that membership rate does include a portion that we do playing Fox by Special Rec, so it's already
So
there.
it's already built
inside
into
that
that.
cost,
Yeah.
so.
Excellent.
Okay.
You guys are already thinking.
Well, remember that when you talk to her. Right.
Yeah.
But she'll want that part of it, rightly.
Right.
So,
To
she'll
her
say,
benefit.
where's my little slice of the pie? So,
Everybody's hungry.
well, but that's a bargain, that's a value at
Oh,
every
yeah,
point.
the services they offer
Yeah.
for what they charge is
Right.
amazing.
At this point, the program that we're looking at is it's a case-by-case basis, correct? Those people that
Yes.
opt in.
Right.
So should they need that extra attention, then that could be an opt-in.
And they're paying for the service, it's not
And
as
they
if
are.
it's they're giving, I mean, they're by the membership fee, which is the equivalent of what a Batavia taxpayer would pay.
Right.
They're paying for those services, so this is not just, hey, we're gonna let you use our stuff and not have to pay for it, so.
The thing to remember about, especially when we're working together at Fox Valley SRA, is it has been made clear by the courts, by legislation, and by the community itself that the special needs or the disability community is tired of waiting. And Congress has made it clear they don't have to wait anymore. We have to provide the services, and rightly so. So, but we need to be prepared, and I just want to alert Carolyn to it.
Sure, sure. That'll be a good selling point too for the village.
All right. So next item on the agenda is executive session. So I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel 2C1 and leasing property 2C5 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Riley. Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Boyce.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Kelly.
Aye, we are in executive session. Thank you very much for joining us. We have no action items to come before the board after our executive session, so we will see you in August. Thank you.